have 5 opportunities to get onto the racetrack. Hey, we could race 5 times if we wanted, but we give them 1 practice session,
right,
1 qualifying, get them a chance to go wheel to wheel 3 different times.
Looking at our championship standings, Kiko Porto, the points leader, but only by 15 points, and with 25 points for a win and on up, it can or 35 points, for a win, that could go away in a heartbeat.
Well, the interesting thing too is that you look at the top 6. Only 1 driver from the top 6 has not yet won, and that's Josh Pearson, the 15-year-old driver who runs for Pabst Racing, the number 24 out of Oregon. Here's a kid that has had last year's first year in the program, was kind of getting comfortable with the racing itself, the car, jumping out of carts into cars. This year, though, that 6 months off, the maturity level, the focus, everything he did in the offseason in terms of some other testing, a chance to test a bunch of different race cars, he's a different kid this year. We're seeing a really impressive level of consistency out of Josh Pearson. Just look at his numbers. A couple of podium finishes to start the year at Barber Motorsports Park. A little bit of rough one at St. Petersburg, a 7th and a 10th, but then he comes back with a 4th, 2nd, 8th, 9th, 3rd. So all these top 10s, a bunch of top 5s as well, and this will be his opportunity to get settled in. Personally, where he is right now, he could probably come back 1 more year in USF2000. I don't think he'll do that. I think we'll see him in Indy Pro 2000 next year. But he could come back and be a perfect example of a driver who spends 3 years in a series and it ends up being the dominant driver the following year. But Josh Pearson's looked really good. All the other drivers have won. Kiko Porto, Yuvan Sundaramurthy, Michael D'Orlando, Christian Brooks, and Prescott Campbell have all been victorious. And coming off of Road America, of course, Kiko Porto with that big win. Thomas Nepthu as well, the young rookie driver for Cape Motorsports out of Quebec, Canada. Oka, Quebec, Canada, was the first rookie of the season to get a win. So pretty good for him to be able to notch that victory.
Michael D'Orlando set the quickest time in practice this morning, a 1:22.05. But again, starting with this session, we'll probably see some fresh tires on line.
This is it right now, right? If you look down here, you have to have fresh rubber on right now because you're not allowed to use your carryover tires that we used in the opening practice anywhere past that opening practice session. You can't hold on to them if you want for later on. So anyways, everybody on fresh tires. And looking down, trying to see how many other drivers may potentially be on have fresh rubber for the next set as well. This could be interesting to see how this all plays out. But a lot of drivers down there getting set to go, and away we are. We're rolling.
Look at the sticker tires on a whole lot of teams.
Yeah, like I said, I don't believe you're allowed to use your carryover tires, so there could be guys that have already pulled the stickers off. Some guys leave the stickers on, some guys want to pull the stickers off. Nonetheless, everybody rolling out onto the racetrack for this qualifying session. Looking forward to it. Coming only 20 minutes, so a practice session a bit longer, but 20 minutes to get the job done. You'll normally see them 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe 7 or 8 minutes to get that first session, the first run done on the tires. Drivers come back in, get a feel for it, talk to the engineers, maybe a slight adjustment, and then put fresh rubber on and try to do it again. Some drivers may hold on to 1 set, some drivers may use 2 sets of tires, but only 3 fresh sets for the remainder of the weekend, which is again, 1 qualifier in 3 races.
The time they'll be shooting for is most likely the race likely that Kyle Berkwood said here 3 years ago in 2018, 1:21.297. The qualifying record was set way back in 2012 by Matthew Brown, who we saw at the Stadium Super Trucks anyway, and that was getting a different chassis, different tire. So we don't expect to see that challenge, but that 1:21 should be within everybody's sights.
We'll see what happens with the 1:20. There's always a possibility. Sure, the temperature's pretty good right now. It's 70 degrees, so engines love it. It's a bit cooler. Track temperature around 95 degrees. We got some cloud cover coming in, a little bit of wind here now. I was actually back in the paddock and a couple of drivers in Indy Pro 2000 looking at that radar. There's a little bit of a cell that could potentially come to for maybe like 10-15 minutes right on top of Indy Pro 2000 qualifying. They're not overly thrilled about that, but
exactly.
But especially when you've shown good pace to dry, right? Sure. You don't want to. We did all this work to get a good dry car, and now we got to go potentially in the wet. We'll see. But we're going to get 20 minutes of dry here, I believe, for USF2000. We'll see who steps their way to the front.
Exactly right. Of course, they do have rain tires. They can't run in the wet if it comes to that. But we're hoping for dry track because that's what makes it fun. That's what makes the lap times the best and gives everybody a level playing field.
I'd say that because personally, I think I love it when we have rain races because I really want to see which drivers can step up in challenging conditions because the rain is something that is tough. It's the great equalizer. You know. Now, granted, we're all in the same chassis, the same engines, so it's not like anybody has more horsepower. But it's the great equalizer in terms of it's all about the right foot, all about your ability to modulate the throttle, your steering input. I think I love the art of rain racing, and I like at least a couple of rain races a year makes me happy.
Are you good in the rain, Rob?
Well, here's the thing. I always say you have to tell yourself you're good in the rain, otherwise you won't be good in the rain.
Right.
I think I used to be really good in the rain, but last time I raced a couple of years ago, I sucked. I was horrible. But I still believe that I'm decent in the rain.
There you go.
But like I said, that if you're a driver that says I'm horrible in the rain, then you're going to be horrible in the rain.
Exactly right.
You've got to tell yourself that I love it, I'm really good at it,
Yep.
and take every opportunity to do it as well. If it's raining, make sure you're out there testing.
First lap's in the books.
Yep.
Not a whole lot to count on just yet, but the usual suspects at the front: Michael D'Orlando, Kiko Porto, Christian Brooks, Yuvan Sundaramuthi, Matt Round-Garrido, your top five after just a single flying lap. So you're right. Nobody's wasting any time getting up to speed, as we've already got times in the 24s. So.
And again, one of the things that happens during these 20-minute sessions, we often laugh, John, when you and I are together, any other one of the track announcers I work with, you do all this work setting up, you tell people where everybody are, but it all happens in the last 3 minutes anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You try to say what the top five is, it's totally different the next lap around. As these cars get lighter and lighter, they get faster and faster. But the key to a qualifying session is that when you set the tire pressure, it's got to be set correctly, right? So you need, number one, driver's got to bring the car up to temperature correctly, the tires. Bring them up to temp. Don't abuse them. Once they get to the exact perfect temp and the exact amount of grip, that's when your tire pressure has to be exactly perfect. At that point, you need open racetracks, so you can't be held up by anybody else. The fuel level's got to be as low as it possibly can, and then the driver's got to turn in the magic lap. That's the beauty of qualifying. People just think they're out there circulating. They're doing everything they can right now to hit that one lap. And you'll hear when IndyCar Radio talks after qualifying for Fast 6 qualifying, when they start talking to all the drivers about not maximizing that one lap. They're on the reds. They didn't get a chance to maximize on the lap that they needed to maximize. Because it does take a little time to get the tire up to temp, but you have to take full advantage of that tire. Otherwise, you're just not going to be P1.
And these Coopers have pretty good longevity, so they don't have a peak like 2 laps in and then they fall off the cliff.
Some of the racetracks do, yes. This particular Mid-Ohio, no. Mid-Ohio could be good to the very end. We could see drivers going faster and faster through to the end. Some tracks we go to a lot rougher on tires, right? They'll chew them up a bit, and maybe that first 2 or 3 or 4 laps is crucial. Otherwise, indeed, the Coopers have the consistency to give still enough grip when the tire pressures get to the right size or to the right pressure, and then when the fuel level gets as low as it needs to be. Because a light car, as I said earlier, is a fast car.
Absolutely. Rob and I are speaking to you from the 3rd floor of the Cooper Tires press tower. We'd like to welcome all of the guests here from Findlay, Ohio-based Cooper Tires, a longtime partner of the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires, and a tremendous supporter of drivers climbing the ladder of the NTT IndyCar Series. Cooper Tires is also the official tire of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The new Cooper Tires Pavilion inside the red roof structure, inside of turn number 1, just went up this summer. They finished the construction on it just this week. And right over there is the Cooper Tires stage, where Rob will be holding forth with a question and answer session. First one today, coming up at 2:15.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to a couple of Juncos drivers, the Indy Lights pilots out of the team. Stingray Rob and Toby Sauer are going to join me there at 2:15, so come on over. Just on the exit of turn number 1, you'll see the big Cooper Tire activation trailer will be there. That's where the Road to Indy TV crew will be setting up shop throughout the weekend as well for all of our coverage pre-show. If you haven't downloaded the Road to Indy TV app, do so. You're able to follow along throughout the season. All of our races live streamed on the app for both Apple and Android devices.
About 6 minutes into the session, that leaves 13 minutes remaining. And look at Chase Denmark up into a 2nd spot. Michael D'Orlando still showing the way by about a 1/4 of a second, but Chase Denmark 2nd quick, Yuvan Sundaramuthi 3rd.
Yeah, 3 laps in the books, and right behind them, Simon Sykes for Legacy Autosport. Driver getting more opportunity to race this year, which is exciting for me. He's been here at Mid-Ohio many times before, so he's got a lot of track time. Simon, 2-time SCCA, or not 2-time, but 2 SCCA runoff championships last year at Road America in both Formula Continental and Formula F. A very talented driver out of Atlanta, Georgia. Kiko Porto now jumping up into the 2nd spot. Chase Denmark for Paps Racing, the rookie out of Scottsdale, Arizona, going down to 3rd. Matt Round-Garrido from England, dropping from 4th to 5th. There's Josh Green from Mount Kisco, New York, and the number 33 for Turn 3 Motorsport will move us way up into the top 5. Green 4th, Round-Garrido 5th, Sundaramuthi in 6th, and now Miles Rowe with the number 99. The Force Indy entry goes to P4, rookie driver. Just kind of getting his feet wet, getting the just starting to get comfortable, I think, for Miles. There's a lot of pressure on him to start the season, pushed hard, got into a couple of race incidents, which is tough to him. He's actually a little further down in points as a result, but currently 14th. I think you'll see some good results coming out of Miles Rowe. Actually had a couple of good runs at Road America, was able to get into the top 10, John, in race number 2. De Orlando, though, won a winner here last year as well in that number 4 machine for Cape Motorsports, coming off, of course, the victory at Lucas Oil Raceway. De Orlando currently 4th in points. Scored the victory on the oval in the Freedom 75. Backed that up with a strong second-place finish at Road America before being involved in an incident, finishing 22nd in the most recent race a couple of weeks ago in Elkhart Lake. P1 right now by 0.2 of a second over Kiko Porto, Jace Denmark, Miles Rowe, and now Nolan Siegel for D-Force into the top 5. Josh Green 6th, Brown Carrito 7th, Sooner Murthy 8th, Josh Pearson 9th, and Bejoy Gard now rounding out the early top 10. Here's what I'm thinking right now. We're almost to the halfway point, and we haven't seen anybody in the pit lane yet. And so I wonder. Here's our first taker.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah, here's our first taker, and it is, in fact, De Orlando. The driver out in Hartsdale, New York, in the number 4. De Orlando, second-year driver. Cape Motorsports will bring that car in for service. Again, I wonder how many people will do that. Will he be the only guy to go to fresh rubber? Will everybody else try to stay out potentially and do one set? De Orlando coming in. He could literally probably sit there. They're going to change tires. I can see the Cape Motorsports crew going to work right now. Fresh boots for De Orlando. Sticker Cooper's going on that Tatis USF2000.
So maybe he came out with a scrub set of tires, and now he's...
Yeah, I'm going to get that confirmation, John, because I was under the impression that you weren't allowed to use the carryovers past that first session. I'll get a confirmation on that when I can, so that's definitely something to look in for. But he is definitely putting on fresh rubber. Whether he goes out or not, I wonder. You're a tenth and a half up right now. You're P1. Do you go out? Do you need to go out?
Yeah.
But we do know this. Qualifying on pole here is crucial at Mid-Ohio. If you start up front, you're going to end up front. Whether it's in the top 2, 3, or 4, whatever it may be. So starting on pole could be big. Championship contender, leader Kiko Porto right behind him in second. So no rest for the weary there.
Spike Kohlbecker up into third. That's a good run for Spike in that number 5 car.
Coming off that third place finish at Road America, a tremendous breakout for Kohlbecker there. Started deep in the field in race number 2 for Kohlbecker. Started 8th, shuffled back deep into the field, drove back up to 8th position, which I thought was impressive. Christian Brooks in the pit lane in the 44. So indeed the exclusive Autosport drivers potentially planning a run here. Past the halfway point, I'd figured maybe lap or 7 minutes in, 8 minutes in. We got guys a little further, 10, 11 minutes in now. Number of drivers potentially staying out for the entire run, but currently into the pit lane is Christian Brooks. He's in the 17th spot. He will not be happy with that at all. 17th for Brooks. Fraser, his teammate, Billy Fraser out of New Zealand, now 17th. They're 17th and 18th, and Matt Round-Garrido in 12th. Here comes Simon Sykes as well in the number 19 Legacy Autosport Metalloid sponsored entry. Sykes back in, the number 10 and Nolan Siegel as well into pit lane. So we may start seeing some drivers into pit lane here for what will be a shorter second run, John.
Spike Kohlbecker goes up to second and closes to within less than a tenth of a second of Michael De Orlando. Now Kiko Porto takes over that second spot. Then Kohlbecker, then Thomas Nepvo. What a great run for him up into the 4th spot.
Yeah, how about Cape Motorsports, 1st, 3rd, and 4th?
Yep.
Rolling pretty good there right now.
Well, they have a bit of pedigree.
They've done well over the last 10 years, indeed. 8 championships, number of team championships as well, and some really tremendous drivers have come through the Cape Motorsports camp as well. What else we've got here? Prescott Campbell to P5 at better pace than he had earlier today. Prescott Campbell, the D-Force entry. Here comes the 92 of Matt Round-Garrido as well, I believe. I think it's the 33 of Josh Green as well, John, into pit lane. So a number of top-running drivers coming into the pits. You wonder whether or not, maybe if you're a little further back, do you save that fresh set of tires? Do you save it for the race, whatever it may be, or do you try to do 2 sets later? Here comes Trey Burke. We talked about Trey, went over and talked to him afterwards. They're really putting their team together, and this is the cool thing. I talked about Trey having some really good pace. He's normally been near the tail of the field, the last 2 or 3 drivers. This guy comes from the dirt oval world, running in junior sprint cars, and then mini sprints, and then in 360 sprinters, 410 sprint cars, And here's a kid that said, I want to try the road dandy. I want to see if I can get the Indy car. And so he's really been learning and now mid-season starting to get more comfortable. They're working with Sage Karam as a driver coach. They've got a lot more intel coming in for the chassis as well. They don't have anybody that's really working.
It's a single car team. Yeah.
It's a single car team, no extra data. So pretty good run so far for Trey Burke, and again been showing well. Burke right now in the 26th spot, but again going to put fresh tires on. Actually, they've got the rear cowl off on this thing.
They're doing some work on the rear suspension, probably making some adjustments. Maybe changing the spring rate, maybe changing the roll bar a little bit, trying to give him a little better grip.
I'm going to say potentially ride height. It looks like they're I think they may be going on the bar to change some ride height here. Either that or rear toe. We'll see what happens when they get in here. But Trey Burke a little further back for this one. But we're going to see some action over the next little while. We got 7 minutes to go. D'Orlando, Pearson. Josh Pearson now up to second for Pabst Racing. Driver currently sitting third in points. He is now P2.
The top 5 separated by 1/10 of a second.
That makes a lot of sense. Billy Fraser down to P1. The Kiwi goes to P1 for exclusive. Fraser in the 91 laying a lap down, 122.031. I believe the best run for Fraser throughout the season has been St. Petersburg. He was pretty strong there in the opening couple of rounds. Currently 11th in the points, indeed 6th place in that opening race. 4th at St. Petersburg in the opening round of that event. Then really been just outside the top 10, 12, 13, 14 is kind of where he's been. But great run there for Fraser, a 122.030.
Now Michael D'Orlando retakes the top spot and the first driver into the 21s, a 121.7926. That's within about a half a second of Kyle Kirkwood's race lap record. Fraser in second spot by about a quarter of a second. So D'Orlando just sort of blew up that tight pack that we had at the top.
Well, I think those put those fresh tires on, right?
Yep, exactly.
Now, here's the thing about Billy Fraser, right? Currently P2. They haven't brought him down here to pit lane yet. I don't know that they will. Let's see whether or not Fraser comes, because maybe they're going to say, hey, listen, let's save some tires for Billy. We'll see what happens here, because right now looking pretty good P2. Even if he's anywhere in the top 10, it would be right there among his best qualifying sessions of the year. Yeah, 12th, 13th, 8th. Everything else has been essentially just outside the top 10 or even lower. So Billy Fraser looking for an opportunity to have a good qualifying effort here. I'll give a shout out to all the Kiwis listening down in New Zealand and those in Australia as well for a number of the drivers that we have from down under.
Christian Weir making it down to the pit lane. Also the 34 car of Dylan Christie also coming into the pits.
Billy Fraser still on the racetrack, currently P2. Here comes Dylan Christie, as you said, in the 34 for Turn 3 Motorsports. D'Orlando, Fraser, Pearson, Porto, Kohlbecker, top 5. Nepfu in 6th, Denmark 7th. Sundermer the 8th, Campbell 9th. And Jackson Lee now up into the top 10.
Just under 5 minutes remaining.
Jackson Lee in the Prime 47 Chernoff Cosmetic Surgery Mach entry. New sponsor on the side of Jackson Lee's car here this weekend. Again, Prime 47 and Chernoff Cosmetic Surgery will go more into depth on a program that's part of that partnership a little later on here this weekend. 4 minutes to go, a little over 4. D'Orlando on top by 0.2 of a second, a 121.792. Trying to get himself back into the championship fight. Currently sitting 4th, 29 points behind Kiko Porto. Kiko currently still in the 4th spot.
And D'Orlando, the only driver in the top 5 that doesn't have a win yet this year.
There you go.
So this.
Oh no, and Fraser.
Yep.
Oh, you mean in the top 5 in points?
Yeah, yeah.
D'Orlando won at Lucas Oil.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
He won at Lucas Oil. But that's his only victory. So another one here would be big, especially as we're into this final run of races. Fraser still P2. Interesting to see Billy Fraser second. Christian Brooks back in 18th right now, a tenth or a full second off, 9.99. So Christian Brooks, a winner at St. Petersburg earlier this year. He's had some really good runs as well. Top 5 runs at Barber, wins at St. Pete, 3rd, 5th, and then a DNF, an issue for a technical issue at Indy. He was fast at Indy. 5th and 5th at Lucas Oil Raceway, and then Road America 5th and 20th after the incident we detailed earlier today. This is not the pace we've seen out of Christian Brooks.
Yeah, that's out of character for him to be that far back.
Indeed. He's coming across. That's Matt Rangarito coming by us here on start finish right now. He's currently in the 16th spot. Is D'Orlando back in? So that what D'Orlando did there, great lap, went out, fresh tires, blustered one more lap down. He's done.
Yep.
Those will be race tires probably for Sunday.
Yep.
Couple laps, maybe 1 or 2 laps on those tires will be fantastic. They'll have a heat cycle. he'll be really strong with that on Sunday. So D'Orlando up top. Billy Fraser, though, super impressive. Fraser into second in the number 91. Pearson, Porto, and Colbeck. Well, what is going on with Christian Brooks? Fifth in points, rather, all the way down in 18th position.
And a second off the pace.
Yeah, crazy. Number 8 of Jackson Lee into pit lane, currently in the 11th spot as he goes down a spot there. Nolan Siegel getting above Billy Fraser to move Nolan Siegel to second. Nathan Bird into pit lane. Good to have Nathan Bird back with us. Made his debut at the Freedom 75. He's going to run the race today, and then the race on Sunday as he's going to run a midget, I believe, at Lucas Oil Raceway again on Saturday night. So Nathan doing a lot of different racing, running a bunch of different stuff to get a feel for it. We're thrilled to have him here with us again. Nathan Bird, running for Legacy Autosport, 28th right now, but again, his first road course event here on the road to Indy.
He's doing an Ernie Francis this week.
Exactly that. Kiko Porto goes to P1 in the number 12 for D-Force. Porto on top, D'Orlando second, Siegel third. Simon Sykes jumping up into the 4th spot. Billy Fraser now 5th. Bejoy Gargan 6th. Josh Pearson 7th. Spike Colbecker 8th. Thomas Nepveu in 9th. And Jace Denmark in 10th. Brooks improves up to 16th, but he's still a full second off the pace right now. His teammate Billy Fraser quicker by a half a second. Normally the other way around, because Brooks, the veteran driver, second year of the series, there's got to be something wrong with that machine.
That lap of Porto was stout, man. He is 3/10 clear of D'Orlando and almost a half a second clear of Nolan Siegel.
Yeah, I was going to say, D'Orlando, who was 3/10 clear himself before. That's a big jump.
Yeah, that's a big lap.
And that's the point leader, Kiko Porto, his last bunch of races. IMS, let's go this. Here's a 10th is the opening round. 4th at Barber, then St. Pete, 5th and 2nd. IMS, 7th, 3rd win. Lucas Oil Raceway, 4th. Road America victory, and then 5th. That is a nice everything in the top 10, the consistency you need to be up top.
Yep.
Kiko Porto, the number 12, P1 here in the order as well. Simon Sykes going up to 3rd. Simon coming off his best weekend ever in the road to Indy, John. 7th in race 1 at Road America. 2nd, P2 in race number 2 behind Thomas Nepveu. Simon Sykes dialing things in here with Legacy Autosport.
And we're only 10 seconds away from the checkers, so he'll get another lap. And he's only 0.03 of a second off D'Orlando at second.
So final circuit drivers who have coming across start-finish line now going to complete their final lap on the racetrack. Christian Brooks has improved himself up into 15th, 2/10 back. He came in for fresh rubber as well. That's the thing. If he had struggled early, no adjustments to the car to make it faster, because he is that far off the pace. 8/10 off right now. Christian Brooks in 15th. And he did that a lot last year, having to start deep in the field and worked his way forward.
Josh Green up to 9th on his final lap.
Yeah, this would right now tie Brooks's worst start of the year, which was just last race, 15th. He's still 15th. So drivers coming across the line. Siegel, as John said, up on top of Simon Sykes to take the spot away. Kiko Porto still P1. Can Sykes find a little bit? Kiko Porto 121.440. Michael D'Orlando 121.7. 0.3 of a second separating first and second. Porto no quicker. Waiting just on Sykes right now. No. So he'll stand on his time. So here it is. Here's your top 10. Kiko Porto in the number 12, P1. Michael D'Orlando in second in the number 4. Nolan Siegel, 3rd. Simon Sykes, 4th. Billy Fraser, his best qualifying effort of the year, P5 for Fraser. The Kiwi looking good. Bejoy Garg, 6th. Jace Denmark, 7th. Josh Pearson, 8th. Spike Colbecker, 9th. And Josh Green rounding out the top 10. And John, this is what I look at as well. Not just the names, but the teams. Look at the different teams we have in the top 10 as well. You got D-Force Racing with Porter and Siegel, 1st and 2nd. You got Cape Motorsports with D'Orlando in 2nd and 9th with Colbecker. Legacy Autosport in there with Simon Sykes. You got Exclusive Autosport 5th with Billy Fraser. You got Jay Howard Driver Development with Bejoy Garg. You got Paps Racing with Denmark and Pearson, and Turn 3 with Green. There's got to be 6 teams in the top 10 here in USF2000. But, man, a lot of storylines here. Kiko Porto and Michael D'Orlando going to battle it out starting on the front row later today. Porto, your championship leader. Christian Brooks is going to start on row number 8. He'll be a driver to watch in the red and white number 44, but he is not going to be pleased when they get back to the paddock.
Indeed. All right, that'll put a period on the Cooper Tires USF2000 qualifying session, but don't go away because right now the next step on the ladder, the Indy Pro 2000 drivers will be out for their qualifying session in about 10 minutes time.